Now, it's the time for us to discuss about some examples. Here, I adopted one journal publications from my colleague at Zurich. She is teaching the regular students of the same subject. And her topic is about physically active math and language lessons, improve academic achievement. And in this research, they adopt a cluster randomized controlled trials. This is the reference of that. So my colleague Marijke, she published this article with other colleagues. And this is kind of intervention. The intervention is in the math and the language lessons, they try to let the students, they focus on the basisschool students, the average age of around 8. They try to make them physically active in the lessons, and then they want to see whether such kind of instructions may improve their language skills and math skills, such as the speed of the solving the problem and also the spelling in the language. And in order to present this example, to help you understand how your individual essay can be organized, I use the structure I present in the beginning of today's lecture, how you organize your individual essay, and to organize this publication's content into it. So we start from a brief description of the program. Yeah, and here they use very brief information to talk about that recently programs have been developed to incorporate physical activity into the teaching practice of academic lesson content. They also provide some reference about it. So this is kind of program, or let's say the intervention to incorporate physical activity into the teaching practice. So this is the first step. And then the second step, we move to what is the problem. Using this kind of program, this intervention, we are aiming at to solve what kind of problem, and what is the intervention, and what are the theories to support it. Yeah. So let's start from the problem. The problem is that the effects of a program which may take a little longer is still unknown. Most of the previous research which incorporate physical activities into academic lessons are normally very short. So there is no research focusing on the long-term effect. So this is the problem, and that is why they use this intervention. They want to test whether incorporate physical activities into the lessons may have a long-term effect. And this intervention is designed, to focus on academic achievement. Academic achievement. So this is what they are going to measure. Yeah, and so the similar academic goals are also pursued. After that, they present some theories. So why this program, this intervention is designed is based on what kind of theory, such as the sensory motor information. The sensory motor information obtained by the body appears to be an effective aid to learning in the childhood. So for kids at around the age 7 or 8, if we ask them to be physically active, that will help them to learn the language and the math better. So these are based on the sensory motor theory. And also, it has been found that moderate to vigorous physical activity that immediately increase activities in the brain, so may enhance attention. So if we ask pupils to be active, physically active in the lessons, that will also make them more attentive, increase their attention on the learning content. And because their attention has been enhanced, so the academic engagements will also be enhanced, will also be improved. And then their academic performance will also be improved. Yeah. So first is attention, and then engagement, and then the academic achievement. So it's very logically organized. And last is this intervention is different as previous research because it focused on a relatively long-term measurement. So the theory to support it is a longer period of a regular physical activity may cause the brain to change significantly and functionally. Yeah. So these are all the theories to support the current intervention. Now, as I presented about how your essay can be organized, briefly talk about the program. This program is going to solve what kind of problem and how the intervention looks like, and based on what kind of theories. And then we can formulate the research questions or research hypotheses. Like in the current publication, they use a very specific research objective to show us what they are focusing on. They focus on the improvement of children's academic achievement. Yeah, especially to be specifically, that is the math and the language skills, whether it has been improved by the intervention. So from such brief sentences, I can quickly figure out that in this research design, they are going to have intervention group and a control group. And later they are going to measure the math and the language skills. Okay, so this is their hypothesis. Whether students, or let's say whether pupils from the intervention groups outperform pupils from control groups in math and language skill tests. So this is the hypothesis and the research question. And about research design, this publication shows a very clear roadmap. So at the beginning, they select 46 schools which are eligible for this research. And they try to get contact with these 46 schools. However, 34 schools have showed no interest in participation. So later, there are only 12 schools go on with this research. And 12 elementary schools, second and third grades, so actually they are the fourth and fifth grades in the Netherlands. And in total, there are 499 children, so around 500 pupils participated. And then they use a cluster randomization. Yeah, so they randomly select, allocate the class into different groups. So 12 schools and 12 classes are randomly selected into the intervention group. 12 are in the control group. So that results in 249 children in the experimental group, that's the intervention group, and 250 children in the traditional control group. And because this is a long-term project, in the second period of the experiment, unfortunately, for both intervention and control groups, 2 schools drop out. So they stop with the research. They stop their participation in the study. And this results in 43 plus 50, so around 93 children's data will be missing. They not continue to T2, to the second stage. Okay, and regarding the intervention, This is how they describe about the intervention, how long it takes, and how intensive it is about, and how it is operated in practice. And this is about the instruments. So how this academic achievement is measured. I just pick up part from it from the publication. They have given 2 language tests, 2 math tests. So the language tests focus on the reading ability and the spelling ability, while the 2 math tests focus on the speed of problem solving and the general math skills. Okay, and this is the instruments they have used, like a 1-minute test, and they also report that how the reliability is about. Yeah, they use test and retest reliability. Okay, so this is their instrument. Now you can see the program has been introduced, what kind of problem, what intervention, based on what theories it have been introduced, what is their research question, and how the research design is presented. And in our individual essay, we don't have the data, but they have the data. So let's look at their outcome, their findings. They use multi-level analysis. The reason is there's around 400 children coming from 12 schools, and we know that each school may have their own school culture or the level of that. So suppose these are the 12 schools, and these are the classes. Yeah, and from each classes, we have the children there. Okay, but when we look at the multi-level analysis, we can see they don't distinguish the class level, but only the school and the student individual level. So this indicates that for each school, they select the same class for that. So if I recheck it, so for this multi-level analysis, there are only 2 levels of it. The first is the school level, and so 12 schools. And within each schools, there are around 50 children. Yeah, so, and they are the individual level. So here is the individual level, and here is the school level. Yeah, and this is the outcome from the multi-level analysis. And we can find that for this one, we first look at this reading ability. For the reading ability, unfortunately, that there is no significant improvement using physical activity in class. You see that this p-value is not significant. Yeah, the effect size is quite small. Okay, so in this case, we can conclude that using in-class physical activity will not significantly improve children's reading ability. But what about the spelling? And for the spelling ability, we have seen, yes, for the second year test, there is a significant improvement. See, the p-value is smaller than 0.001, and this is the effect size. So this is significant. So in-class physical activity significantly improved children's spelling abilities after 2-year intervention. And then we look at this math speed and general math knowledge. And for the math speed, in the second year, we see the significant improvement. However, in the first year, we didn't see that. So that means in order to improve the math speed for physical activity, we need to incorporate that for at least 2 years. Otherwise, you cannot see the significant improvement. And for the general math knowledge, from the first year, we can already see the improvement of the knowledge. So this is their outcome. And they also reflect on what could be the limitation of this research. You know, that although the school level has been well controlled of that, but the teacher training and also some missing data from the first year to the second year are still the limitation of this research. Okay, so this is the example of how we can use evidence-based intervention as a research topic, and how this research can contribute to our education practices. Like I said, if we were the school managers, the director of the school, we know incorporating physical activity in class is a good thing, but we don't know how long it should be incorporated. And some director may, after one semester, and check it and find, hey, there is no significant improvement. Let's abandon it. And this research shows that for some skills, you need a long term to see the effect. While for some knowledge, yes, in the short term, you can see it. Well, for reading, this kind of activities may not be effective in comparison with the traditional teaching methods. So this example is a very clear, gives us a very clear picture how the educational practice using evidence can contribute to our the instructional design or the decision making of the school teaching methods. So this is what we have talked about for lecture 2. We have learned what is evidence-based education research and how it can be applied in practice. We have also realized there is a gap between education practice and the research, and what could be the tips for us to minimize the gap. I wish you enjoyed today's lecture. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. Have a nice day. Bye bye. We see each other next week.